Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Toastmaster Faiza Javed, PQ team member of Division N, District 126. And today we are in conversation with distinguished Toastmaster Iram Rizvi. How are you, ma'am? Welcome to the interview.
Thank you. Excited.
We all are extremely excited too. Before we start the interview, let me give you all a quick intro of DTM Iram Rizvi. She is born and brought up in the United Arab Emirates. She is an engineer from London Metropolitan University with careers at Microsoft, Cisco Networks, IBM, and currently she's working with Schneider Electric. She has been a part of Toastmasters for 4 years now and has served as area directors for District 105 and 122. She is a certified pathway mentor and has just achieved the title of DTM, that's Distinguished Toastmaster. And in her spare time, she loves to dust her 26 trophies. And among them, we can see a few in the background. How wonderful is that?
Thank you.
With that, I think we can carry on with the interview and start the first question. The first question will be, how do one start preparing themselves for the evaluation speech contest?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Faiza and Division N for this opportunity. I'm very excited to be a part of this session, and I'm excited to share what I have personally learned. Evaluation contests are very, very sensitive. If you look at it in one way, you are holding the heart of the speaker in your hands. So you have two choices, either to make it more beautiful and pleasant, or you can break it. So when we do evaluations, we need to be very careful that we have to look at the positive perspective. Number one, please remember, this is a volunteering organization. As much as you are volunteering in this organization, so is the speaker. So everyone is trying to do their hard by volunteering, by supporting each other. And that's the first thing. When we do evaluations, we need to remember that the person whom we are evaluating is as much as the member as we are. There is no such thing as a senior or a junior member. We don't use those words. The difference when you are a Toastmaster and a distinguished Toastmaster is that the distinguished Toastmaster has much more responsibility of serving. So now it looks like that when you're DTM, you have to share the knowledge that you have shared or you have learned. It does not mean that you have the right to break someone's heart or break someone's spirit. Anybody who comes on the stage to do their speech has already taken a huge step of earning confidence. Remember that. Now, when they are on stage, you have to give them feedback in a way that it brings them to stage again and again. And we can see with the number of members that we have around us all over the world, this means that our evaluators are doing a great job. But on the other hand, there is also a big number of members who do not renew after their first membership, which means somewhere in the journey, the heart has been broken. That's why they didn't come or they did not find the value. So when you're evaluating someone, remember that you don't have to sugarcoat. If someone has done not a great job, then pick up few things which are nice and then tell them one of the things that they can do better. Still, you have to give them a feedback so that it looks like that they have received a value from that day. If you're going to say that I have nothing to give you today, then that person did not serve any value. There's no such thing as the person. Now, how to put pad in front of you and writing 3 points on it. The first part is better. And the third part of the notepad is the summary. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Great, because Toastmaster Faiza has frozen, so I was not sure. All right.
I just lost my
So
internet.
in the first part, you have to start writing everything that you liked about that person. Now, before doing all these things, of course, you have to be a great listener. You have to be completely attentive to see how the speaker. Okay, great. You're back with us. Was I audible, Toastmaster Amir? Or did you lose me somewhere? All right. I think Toastmaster Amir is having a cup of tea. No worries at all. So you have to listen attentively. You have to know what is the project of that particular speaker. So what are the objectives? You need to know this before the meeting and you have to be prepared. And then when the speaker starts his speech, you need to note how the opening was, how the closing was, how the middle part was, and how was the overall message. So for the opening and closing, of course, needs to be connected. So you need to start marking those things that how well was the opening, how well was the body, how well was the closing. Now I said pretty easily that you have to write the points that you liked, the points that needs improvement, and of course your summary. Now the points that you liked, quickly you have to check upon few things. How was the objective of the speech? How was the vocal variety? How was the body movement? How was the background? How were the hand gestures? How was the vocal, whatever character they're getting into, were they actually matching that? How was the speed, pauses? These things you need to notice. Now, when I count these things, it does not mean that you have to talk about all of these things. Please remember that. Don't make the speaker run away. You don't have to speak on all of these things. You just have to notice that which of these things were on the good side and which of these things require an improvement. Now, preparation. Now we are very specific on preparations. This has to be ready with you before the speaker gets on the stage or on the screen. Similarly, your listening skills. You have to listen to the speaker without thinking what that speaker was before the speech. For example, I know Toastmaster Faiza very well, and I know what she does. I have to forget all that before she gets on the stage. I have to listen to her speech from the moment she starts till the end as a Toastmaster, not as Faiza. So I have to see that day how she has done her speech, irrelative whether she has been a top speaker in her clubs or whether she's a new speaker or whether it is her very first day or whether she's someone who has come back after 4 or 5 years, irrelative, or whether she's my friend. If I have to justify my role as an evaluator, I need to do it as of that day's speech. So remember that. For preparation, let me sum it up for you. You need to be ready to listen. You need to know the objectives of that speech. And you need to have your notepad ready with the points, which are, of course, the important points that you need to speak on. So you have to see that whether they fall into the good points or whether they fall into the recommended ones. Thank you, Faiza. Can I have the next question?
Thank you. You really well answered. Really amazingly, you answered the first question. Just from the answer of the first question, I want to ask, as you have mentioned so many things, and indeed we as an evaluator, one have to keep these things in mind. So that does not obviously come from 1 day of practice or 2 days of practice. So when someone is willing to participate in the contest, apart from the daily meetings that they attend of their club, so what is the correct time do they think they have to start practicing for the contest?
You have one of the best things about Toastmaster Faiza is that once you become a member of one club, you are open to go to any club in the world. So it does not stop on your home club. I think the way to challenge yourself is to attend as many meetings as possible, as many meetings. So if today I have joined, and imagine this is the month of November, and from December we have contest, I have hardly a month to go. I would start practicing at the clubs which are having meetings twice a month. So I will do on a Sunday, which is a day off for me. I will also do one more meeting on a Friday or a Thursday and take the role of an evaluator. So you request the VP Education to give you the role of an evaluator so you can practice. Practice is the key. The more you practice, the better you get. I will give you my personal example that when I joined Toastmaster, a month later, 2 months later was the contest. And in my very first year, I went till the division level on table topics. But in evaluation, because I have only seen people do evaluation, I did not reach to my evaluation speech in my project. So I did not get the chance. But of course, if you are open to participate in evaluation contest, I went on evaluating and I passed the time. And this happened for many months. I just go on evaluating and I would keep on bypassing my time until I started controlling my thoughts. I started controlling my words. I started understanding that I don't have to say everything in an evaluation. Evaluation is like a crisp thing that goes on. So you can't really do everything. And it took me 8 months to perfect that after getting a great mentor who gave me some tips and tricks to make my evaluations better by making these notes, by being specific. So I know that how do I have to keep myself on time? So if you want to participate in evaluation contest and you are a new member, I would suggest you please take this opportunity, be the part of the contest, even if you have never evaluated. The experience you get from the contest is much higher from the club. The time you get into the contest, that rush that comes inside you, that feeling of being on the stage and the judges are sitting and you don't know who is the judge, so many people are watching and it's a contest, gives you a lot of learning. So please take part, but I would suggest that as many times as you can time yourself and you see that you're very close to the closing time, that's where you need to keep on practicing till you reach. Now, if I tell you the tips and tricks, if I'm allowed, that I got from my mentor, which got me back on my timings were pretty much calculated then, was he told me that make these 3 things in your paper. His name was DTM Mazhar Jamil. He's late. He has passed away the same year that he became my mentor. He was shot in Pakistan and in one of the snatchings, sadly. So he was a very dear DTM of ours. So he told me that there are 3 things that you need to do. Number 1, you need to put up these 3 points. Number 2, you need to have a small paper in your hand. So whenever you get that big A4 size paper, just fold it up. There has to be one place where you write jolted points. And you need to make sure that when you're making your sentences, you give examples. So when I say that Toastmaster Faiza, I love your background. I love the way how your background is blue. It has nothing written behind it. I love the fact that I was focused on you. So I need to say what was great in that background. I cannot just say, Toastmaster Faiza, I love your background. I love your vocal variety. I love your pauses. So I didn't really add value. What did I love in them? I loved the blue subtle color, which does not let me go here and there and I can focus on you. Now, similar way, I could get a feedback that Toastmaster Iram, your background had a lot of things. Half of the time, rather than listening to you, I was counting the trophies. So this is one kind of way of giving a feedback. So Iram, great background, but I got distracted many times. I was busy looking at what was in the background. And the similar way, you could get a feedback that your background was settled. Now, when you write these 3 things, let me come back to that. Always write in points and write in pauses. For example, Toastmaster Faiza said to the audience, wow, what a fantastic opening. Now, Toastmaster Faiza, when you said, wow, you took a pause. You made people think, wow, what a fantastic opening. I love the way you took that pause. On the other hand, I can also say, Toastmaster Faiza, you said, wow, I love the opening. Toastmaster Faiza, you could have given a pause after wow and said, wow, I love the opening, and brought your volume higher for wow and brought your volume lower for the rest of the point. Now, this thing I have to notice when I'm writing those points, and I have to write that the vocal variety was great, the pauses was nice, and I have to write the sentence where that thing mattered. So whenever you talk to people and give them recommendation, you need to give the example that where exactly it was. This is the key. People end up saying that I liked your vocal variety, I liked your background, I liked your hand gestures, but they don't say which kind of hand gesture. So when we were talking about Toastmaster Faiza said that when I was stepping out of my house, I could say that Toastmaster Faiza, I would recommend you to say when I was stepping outside my house or when I was stepping outside. So just step out. So do a bit of an action to show that expression. So you need to give examples. So those points, whatever you write, you need to write small, short over there, an example that what did Toastmaster Faiza exactly do that you liked, or that you would say that Toastmaster you could have done. Number two, in recommendations, always remember, you have to tell the things that the speaker missed. All right. Now, I dislike when people say that your grammar wasn't well, you had a lot of R's. This is not the role of the evaluator. This is not the role of the judges to look for that. Now, you have to actually talk about the content, talk about the objective of the project that is being done, and notice the content rather than saying as an evaluator, you had a lot of grammatical mistakes. You had, your accent wasn't clear. You said schedule instead of schedule. So you cannot say these things. This is not the part of an evaluator. So evaluator has to focus on the things that the speaker missed. If the speaker missed to take a pause, if the speaker missed to connect the opening with the closing, if the speaker missed to give a message. So the evaluator has to give an example that when you started your meeting by saying, this is Sparta, in the end, you should have spoken about Sparta rather than just finishing with a message. So the evaluator has to give an example. Similarly, your summaries are so important. Your summaries need to have all the points which you have used in your meeting. So let me summary it up for you. So when you asked me when to prepare for the club contest, my answer is that you can prepare it at any time. You can prepare it even if it is your first day of your club, even if you have never done your evaluations. You have to time up your evaluations to be within the evaluation contest time or the evaluation time. And how to do that? By noting down points, keeping them in front of you, by noting down the recommendations, talking about the things that the speaker has missed, and of course, by summarizing that in the end within 10-15 seconds. This is how you do a summary. Good. Next question from you, Toastmaster Faiza.
Thank you, DTM Eram. The next question would be, while delivering the evaluation report, how do you present the recommendations without offending the speaker? As an evaluator, you have points of improvement that you want to convey to the speaker, but somewhere or the other, someone by mistakenly, unintentionally, use the words in a wrong way where it can offend the speaker. So how do one suggest the points of improvement without offending the speaker?
Thank you very much. That's a great question, Toastmaster Faiza. See, first of all the evaluators, Toastmasters need to understand that when they evaluate, it's their personal opinion. Whenever I evaluate, I make sure that I say that I saw, I felt. I do not speak on behalf of the audience. There might be somebody in the audience who did not feel that point, what I did. So evaluators always need to say that I felt distracted. I was overwhelmed. I got emotional. I was hearing you and I was just baffled. So it has to be I. You have to make sure that the speaker feels that this is your personal opinion, and it's up to the speaker to take those feedback or not to take those feedback. Now, when you're recommending someone, the way not to hurt them is to say, if I were you, I would have done it a little differently. This is the best way. This is the magic. I have the people whom I evaluate, they usually message me saying that, can you please evaluate my speech? Because they want to know that when I'm evaluating them, what would I have done different? Because that's the words that I use. So I say, in my personal opinion, if I was you, Toastmaster Faiza, I would have tried to have blingy background. Or if I were at place of you, I would have used more pauses. I would have brought a bit of more drama. I would have lowered down my voice. So whenever you want to do that, you have to say that I would have done this rather than saying that you should have. This is a big no, please, big no. Never say to the speaker, you should have, you could have, you must have. No, we cannot do that. Please, everybody understand. And I'm so glad that we have this opportunity here. Everyone that is in your club comes from a different background, from a different school, different nationality, different upbringing. We are not same. And most of us, English is not our mother tongue. When English is not your mother tongue, trust me, how much you're speaking is a great job done. We belong to the countries where mostly we speak more than 2 languages or minimum at 2 languages. So if English is the second language and we're doing well, bravo. But if you're not doing too well, you're learning. It's absolutely fine. So you need to take the value of the content rather than saying that you must have used those words. You must have worked on your grammar. No, you're never supposed to say must, should, or you could have done that. Always you have to say that these are the points that you did great. So mostly what I would do personally is I would give them 3 good points that I liked and 2 points for recommendations. Or I would give them 2 points that I liked and 1 point of recommendation. My recommendations will always be lesser than the good points because I want to show the speaker that I saw more good on you, good in whatever you have done rather than the recommendations. But I would love to give 2 recommendations and request the speaker that can you please try this in your next speech and let me know how it went. So if you could do that, if I were you, I would have done it in that way. But could you try doing it? Because let me tell you one thing, Toastmasters, not everybody cannot do vocal variety. Not everyone knows how to bring in the voice of an old woman or to bring in the voice of a big man. So not everybody can do that. No, not many people can take out the voice of a monkey or take out the voice of a chick. No, not everybody can do that. Not everybody can go up and low. So I can talk about that I didn't like it, or I can say that I actually fell in love with it. Not everyone can do that. So you need to respect that when they're doing it, they're learning. They are on that path. But there is a very high possibility that they come from a background where there is not much vocal variety in their house. And it's all right not to have vocal varieties. It's all right not to speak too loud. It's all right if someone is learning and not looking too much in the camera and they're mostly looking down because they're too shy of the camera. It's all right. So when you see someone is having a personality thing, most of the people have a personality thing, don't comment on it because it's not in their hands. They're brought up in a shy environment. They are introverts. So try respecting that and speak on the things that could be changed. So I hope that has answered your question.
Yes, it surely did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think with that, we can end this session. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Iram, for joining. We truly are honored to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Faiza. My pleasure.